Another heartbreak for the Buffalo Bills, joined once again by Brian Hayes. The Bills not alone when it comes to crushing the hopes of the team and the city and the fan base. So you are going to list it. Most heartbreaking franchises in North American sports. Let's go from 5 to 1. Number 5.
I have the Dallas Cowboys at number 5, Rod. Now, unlike the other teams on this list, they have won a championship in the last 30 years. But since then, the Dallas Cowboys have been the definition of ineptitude come playoff time, right? They choke after choke after choke. A botch snap by Tony Romo. Was it a catch by Des Bryant? The last few years, they've been a very good team. They get to the playoffs and they fall apart. And on top of that, to add insult to heartbreak, every Cowboy fan knows, every other fan loves basking in their misery. The Cowboys are at 5.
That was 28 years ago, their last Super Bowl win. Okay, number 4.
I have the New York Knicks at number 4, right? The New York Knicks should be, they believe, their fans believe, should be on a par with the Boston Celtics, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Mecca of basketball, but they have not been at any point in my lifetime. They also, I believe, have the worst owner in pro sports in James Dolan. They never have a superstar. They never have that number 1A guy, the MVP caliber player. Whenever they get their hopes up, they get to the playoffs, they get bounced, usually early, usually often. The New York Knicks are at number 4.
They came close when they had Patrick Ewing. That was a while ago.
Long time ago.
Been 50 years for the Knicks since their last championship. Okay, number 3.
I have the Cleveland Browns at number 3 for multiple reasons, right? They were a pretty good team in the 80s and 90s. You'll remember that, Rod. Then the team gets ripped away from them. They go to Baltimore, and now the Baltimore Ravens are the picture of consistency. They've won 2 Super Bowls since they left Cleveland. They might have a third on their way right now. They are the picture of consistency in the National Football League. The Browns finally get their teams back in '99. And it has been losing season after losing season after losing season. They go through more quarterbacks than any other team in pro sports and in pro football. This year, they maybe thought, this is it. We finally got a guy, Joe Flacco, who won a Super Bowl for the team that left us back in the day. What happens? Pick 6. They lose against Houston. The rest is history. The Cleveland Browns are at number 3.
That's got to be even more insult to injury when they see the team that they became go on Baltimore to win 2 championships. Okay, number 2.
You knew they were going to be on this list somewhere. The Toronto Maple Leafs are at 2. The Maple Leafs are at 2. They have not won a Stanley Cup in well over 50 years. The last 8 years, 7.5 years, they have been a lock playoff team. Austin Matthews arrived. Mitch Marner arrived. William Nylander arrived. Then John Tavares, the homegrown son, finally returns. And it's just continued heartbreak. Just in the past decade, you have up 4-1 with 11 minutes to go. That speaks for itself. But since then, they've had leads on the Bruins in the playoffs. They failed to complete that series. Up 3-1 against Montreal. They finally win a series last year. They get to the second round. They fall flat on their face in that round against the Florida Panthers. The Leafs are at 2.
Haven't even been to the Cup final since '67.
That's right.
Which was a 6-team league, by the way, the last time they won, if it doesn't hurt already enough for Leaf fans. Number 1.
I have the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills and their fans, because there's so many different things you can reference. Just again, over the last 35 years, 4 straight Super Bowls. Wide right, Scott Norwood. Now it's wide right part 2. Obviously, this weekend against the Chiefs. They were waiting for a guy like Josh Allen to arrive. He finally shows up. It happens to coincide with Patrick Mahomes also arriving in the National Football League. They've lost 3 of the last 4 years against Kansas City. 13 seconds left. Obviously, wide right part 2. And that says nothing about the Music City miracle, which stands all alone in terms of just a crazy moment in NFL history. The Buffalo Bills, they reside at number 1 on this list.
The home run throwback by the Tennessee Titans. Lots of pain for fans of the Buffalo Bills continuing. List it with Brian Hayes.